So as an entertainer, and not only in wrestling but in life, how do you maintain that, knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are to be able to succeed?
So I know who I am. I know what I'm about. I know what my goals are in professional wrestling, and I've always maintained the idea that I need to stick to that. There's always going to be opinions or thoughts about what you can do, and I think you take those opinions, but you take what works for you and apply it. For me in wrestling, something I wanted to do that was not necessarily shot down, but people didn't really understand it, was wearing a mask only during my entrances, especially, like you said, as a black man. A black man with a tiger mask is not a very common visual in pro wrestling.
Right.
And it's like, well, why not? I think everybody follows this pattern in professional wrestling, and a lot of people are afraid to escape it because they don't know what's working, or they're told that doesn't work. But you don't know it works unless you try it, and then wrestling evolves. Everything evolves. Art evolves. Music evolves. And you have to stick to who you are about changing these things. With my mask, and I came into AEW, it was very, I don't want to say playful, but it was a softer style design. As I've gone through AEW, I've learned I have to be more violent. I have to be more aggressive if I'm going to keep my spot here. So the current mask you see me with now, there's sharper fangs, there's like claw marks, all these things, these imageries that represent who I've become and the wrestler I need to be to stay at this level. Also, even the things I wear, I wear a singlet, but I'm not wearing it up.
Right.
That's a reference to a Japanese wrestler, Masato Yoshino, who I'm a big fan of, but also doing things my way. A singlet is usually connected with a great technical wrestler, Kurt Angle, other guys like that. Mm-hmm. I'm a technical wrestler, but I'm my own style, so that's why I wear it down. I used to wear a baseball jersey. Then I saw other people start wearing baseball jerseys, and not to say I was the first one, of course, but it became so much of a trend. I was like, I need to switch this up. How do I make that different? I started wearing jackets that I painted myself. Now I wear this puffer coat that I paint myself, and that's another way for me to express who I am. All of these things make up who I am as an individual, and that's why it's easy, because it's me being me, but it's me figuring out how to do it in a unique way.
So, this is a great segue. So, me as a musician, the main thing that I get into outside of it is collecting video games.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I collect any system. I have like every system in my house. Yeah. It's just sitting there, but I just collect it because that's my thing.
Right.
So for you, on the outside of wrestling, it's painting, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get into that, and what do you like? You go to galleries, you go to art galleries, you sell your paintings. What got you into that? Because that's very interesting. That's actually cool. You do something outside of wrestling to sink your teeth into.
Yeah. It was a journey to get to where I am now. So when I first got into art, it was when I was a kid. My mother was encouraging, my dad was encouraging. Just draw. Just give me a pencil and a piece of paper, just draw, let me do my thing. That's what I did. And before I even discovered what pro wrestling is, I wanted to be a cartoonist. I wanted to be specifically character design, even though as a kid I didn't know what that was. I just wanted to draw cartoons. As I got older, I discovered pro wrestling, and that became where I wanted to go, but I never left art. I would always draw, I would always color, do things like that. Painting was actually the one thing I didn't like doing, because painting is something where you have to understand that you don't have as much control as you want, because the way painting is, with water, acrylics, oil painting especially, which is something that doesn't dry and it continues to move. So that was something I stepped away from for a while. I stuck with the drawing. I learned graphic design on my own. I just taught myself through YouTube tutorials and things like that because I wanted to learn.
Shout out YouTube.
Yeah. I went to college for a little bit to learn a little bit more, but for the most part I was taught myself how to do all this stuff digitally. And then it was about maybe 2 years ago, I grabbed a painting, a canvas, grabbed some paint, and I just started painting. I painted a Jushin Thunder Liger with a garden behind him. And the reason I did that is because it's things that I love. I love nature. And when I was in Pittsburgh, I didn't experience nature as much as I do here in Florida, the tropical climate and all that stuff. And I realized how much I appreciate these things. Professional wrestling, Jushin Thunder Liger in a suit. To me, luchadors in suits is the most fire aesthetic in pro wrestling. I don't know why, but looking at El Santo, Blue Demon, all these guys in suits, I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. I want to get to that level.
Right.
But that represents a comfort and luxury in art. So once I did that first painting, I just kept going. And I kept going, and I kept going. I kept making paintings, and they picked up. And then now I can say pretty soon I'll have my own gallery at some point. I'll have my own exhibit somewhere because I put in that work. And that also came with maturing and realizing, okay, I can't control this paint, but I can at least see a vision where I'm trying to go, and I can work with the art, work with the painting, and then something will come out that's beautiful.